So, how about that debate? Awesome, right? Turns out all it took was a little chum to get the sharks feeding, which is what Bloomberg was, the little chum who got eaten alive.
A billionaire who calls women fat broads and horse-faced lesbians. And no, I'm not talking about Donald Trump. I'm talking about Mayor Bloomberg.
I thought that he shouldn't be hiding behind his TV ads.
He had stop and frisk, throwing close to 5 million young black men up against the wall.
We are sick and tired of billionaires like Mr. Bloomberg seeing huge expansions of their wealth, while 500,000 people sleep out on the street tonight.
Mayor Bloomberg, who thinks he can buy this election.
We have a very few non-disclosure agreements.
How many is that?
Let me finish.
How many is that?
I haven't seen someone look more out of place since Jesse went to confession. Meanwhile, those who feasted on Mini Mike benefited. Not only did Bloomberg not have a box, he didn't know how to box. Caught flat-footed at each turn, he exhibited the agility of a corpse. Liz led the attack relentlessly. Biden, for once, seemed semi-coherent. Amy Kay took the opportunity to clobber the word faucet that is Mayor Pete. But the big winner, Bernie, who barely got touched because everyone wanted a piece of the billionaire. Sanders was like a magician benefiting from misdirection. Here, everyone, look at laughable Mini Mike while I steal the nomination. Of course, Mike had it coming. You don't enter late in the game, throw cash at the crowd, then tell those who've already been playing to drop out because you arrived. Plus, his reputation is piggish. But it's a sobering observation. Among Democrats, it's worse being a billionaire who started businesses than an apologist for the Soviet Union during the Cold War. Because the Cold War was like history, and that was 31 years ago, a long time. So maybe Bernie just forgot, like all of his supporters did. That's scary for the rest of us who prefer capitalism over socialism, who rooted for America, not the USSR in the 70s and 80s, who see that success in competition and profit, jobs and incentives can actually change lives. Sadly, Bloomberg worked hard, and all he got was rich. He never stood a chance. All right, can we just admit, Dagan, that was so much fun? It was so much. I was having a blast last night.
It was a little hard to watch. Like in my private time, I watch supercar crash fails, where you have this arrogant rich guy who gets behind the wheel of like a 6 or a 7-figure car, and because he's a clown and a jerk and full of himself, he wrecks the car immediately. And I derive deep, immense amounts of pleasure from watching that. But even last night, this was so awkward and painful. I think people will have pity on him, and they will give Mike Bloomberg a second chance. But I've been where he's been. You're getting up there in age, and you get inside of your own head, and all you're thinking about is, don't be an ass, don't be an ass, don't yell at her, don't yell at her, and you can't do anything else because you're just stuck in your own noggin.
Well, do you think this hurts him? I mean, it hurts him, but do you think it knocks him out?
I don't think it knocks him out, and I don't think it will hurt him as much because he's got so much money in the race. Now, there was a big turnout for people that watched last night. This was not your average primary debate, so people that tuned in saw Mike Bloomberg for the first time, like on stage rather than just on an ad. And they might say, well, gosh, maybe he's not that great. But I still think, overnight he picked up these 4 endorsements from congressional members. He got another one in South Carolina. And the thing is, if he didn't have to debate again before the voting, that maybe he could hang on. But there's another debate in 4 days on Tuesday. But I kind of wish that he had just let his inside voice out.
Yes, like Trump does.
Yeah, and like when they went after him on stop and frisk, say, okay, actually, let me just set the stage here. He was pretty good at telling them not to interrupt him. He does not like to be interrupted, and he shut that down. And Elizabeth Warren, I think, look, she said she hates billionaires so much, and in her campaign, she was not going to take money from billionaires. She had this whole thing. Guess what happened today? Oh, there's a super PAC that wants to donate in her name, and she's not going to disavow it. So everybody has to play the game.
Geraldo, where do you put this in performances of debates you've seen?
Horrifying.
Yeah.
And shocking. I was at 21 at lunch with my buddy David Sherrill, and he said that what they're saying on Wall Street is that he brought his wallet to a knife fight.
Yeah.
That good. I thought it was a shoddy performance by Mayor Bloomberg. I thought he was unprepared. How could he not be ready for the obvious attacks that your grandmother knew were coming. I thought that was the part that seemed most shocking to me, how woefully unprepared he was. I mean, it's not just, if you have a staff of 40,000 people, don't at least have like 2 guys to give you 6 zingers to use over a 2-hour debate. You know it's going to be about stop and frisk. Have an answer for stop and frisk. You know it's going to be about buying your way into the race. Have an answer for buying your way into the race. Talk about the struggle. Talk about, your family had nothing and this is the American dream and why are we putting down the American dream and how did we become this nation of mediocrity where, success is somehow something to be shunned. I thought that it was really very amateur.
He wasn't a good proponent for capitalism. That was the problem. Jesse, do you want to respond to Trump's tweet about this, or would you like to just give your thoughts extemporaneously?
Well, I don't care. I just remember yesterday when Geraldo said Mike was going to have a great night. Remember that? I didn't forget Geraldo.
At my age, I have very short-term memory loss.
Yeah, you're like Klobuchar. You can't remember names.
I can't.
Do you think it was a
Lopez Obrador? Remember?
That's right.
The phrase that you kept hearing in the media with circular firing squad, which is a cliche, of course. Was it bad overall for the Dems?
No, I would say he injected a little adrenaline into the field. They started showing their teeth, they scared him into getting a little competitive. He was kind of like a Trump light up there. He's basically like a weak Republican. Gave him a nice fat target and they took advantage of it. But he paid $400 million for that beatdown.
Yes.
Maybe he's into that kind of thing. I don't know what he likes to do with his
I would
money.
have done it for half that.
Yeah, I know. I've heard
of
that about you. He probably wishes he had a little box to crawl under after that performance. He just didn't live up to the hype. The guy was shaky. He was unprepared. And what you wanted to see out of Mike, you talked about this. You just mentioned it. He wanted to see a boss out there. And he acted like an intern. If Liz Warren says, show us your NDA, he should have said, well, no. Well, you showed us your DNA, and that didn't work out too well. It's not that hard. Remember when he said, you called this woman a horse-toothed lesbian. He should have said, only the royal family.
Yes.
Because that's what it was about.
Only Rosie O'Donnell.
Only Rosie O'Donnell.
But he also could have said, and talking about the consultants that could have given him a line, if she was going to bring that up, he could have said, didn't just last week your staff in Las Vegas, here in Las Vegas, leave because of a hostile workplace?
Yes.
Because that happened.
We should be running his campaign.
I know.
Spending all that money.
Also, he doesn't do any interviews. And I think that because it's one thing to not be on the debate stage, but he also doesn't do any interviews to get himself into a little bit of fighting shape.
Yeah, that DNA line is a winner.
Yep. But I would have sold that to him for $10 million.
But I tell you, as soon as it was over, there was a spot on, or an advertisement for Bloomberg. And it's like, and then there was one this morning when I woke up. So soon there's going to be so many of that.
But he set fire to all of that. He burned $500 million on a debate stage last night. They have to start all over again.
1/120th of his wealth.
It's like false advertising because now you see this Bloomberg in an ad, and it's not the guy you saw last night.
All right.